Hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Savage Patriots.
Hello.
Today, we are exploring the options that are left for Letitia James, the most world renowned DA ever, very well organized and a beautiful woman, beautiful, strong, independent black woman. And if you don't believe that, you're a bigot.
She stands on quote unquote business.
Business. And her business weighs about 400 pounds. Anyway,
God, jeez. Built like a linebacker. Run that power
built
play. What a hike.
He's a brick
Mm,
house.
built like Refrigerator Perry.
Refrigerator Perry. Man, never, ever, ever let it be said that the Democrats are ever surprising. They will always tell you you're doing something that they themselves are actually doing.
Yes.
Don't forget, this is the same woman that issued a lawsuit against the current sitting president about fraud when it comes to his business ventures in New York. And lo and behold, she is now being looked at for fraud, and not just in New York. But there are some other things too that are quite concerning about the way she filed her paperwork for the 2 locations that she's bought residence in. And we shall look at both. I don't know how many of you have heard about the other side of it, where she pulled an Ilan Omar. In case you all didn't know this,
Marrying her brother?
did you? Her father,
Her daddy.
on paper. So we'll get. I'm going to jump in ahead of myself. Let me slow the roll down a tad here. The first thing we're going to do, of course, is read the paperwork that has been sent in by Miss Bondi, and when you hear it, or at least read it, it should be one. I laughed. I was quite thrown aback by it, but then again, I expect this is par for the course. U.S. Federal Housing, FHFA. The Honorable Pamela Bondi, the Honorable Todd Blanche, Department of Justice. And this is a criminal referral. Dear Attorney General Bondi and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, pursuant to my authority as Director of the U.S. Federal Housing Finance Agency, I'm referring the matter below. As regulator of Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and the Federal Home Loan Bank, we take very seriously allegations of mortgage fraud or other criminal activity. Such misconduct jeopardizes the safety and soundness of FHFA's regulated entities and the security and stability of the U.S. mortgage market. In the course of exercising U.S. federal housing authorities under the Federal Housing Enterprise Financial Safety and Soundness Act of 1992, the U.S. federal housing has identified matters that are appropriate for referral to the United States Department of Justice for consideration for criminal prosecution. Based on media reports, Ms. Letitia James has, in multiple instances, falsified bank documents and property record to acquire government-backed assistance and loans and more favorable loan terms. Sounds an awful lot like what she talked about with Mr. Trump.
So we're talking overvaluing a property for the sake of an appraisal to get a better deal, or
yes, and under not disclosing certain information to the people that were giving her the loan about a certain property so she can get a different loan. This has potentially included 1, falsifying residence status for a Norfolk, Virginia-based home in order to secure a lower mortgage rate, and 2, misrepresenting property descriptions to meet stringent requirements for government-backed loans and government assistance. Mind you, this would be also governmental fraud as well, defrauding the government, not just regular banks, like she accused Mr. Trump of doing. And they gave the address of the Norfolk address, and that on August 17, 2023, Miss James granted Miss Shanice Thompson Harrison power of attorney to make a Virginia property of her principal residence. Exhibit A, and on August 30th, 2023, through her attorney, Miss James purchased this property in Norfolk, Virginia, in a Fannie Mae Freddie Mac Form 3047, and in mortgage documents, she reaffirmed this would be her primary residence, despite being a statewide public office holder in the state of New York at the same time and primarily residing in the state of New York.
Interesting.
In fact, a building permit issued on her New York property on July 15, 2024 lists her New York property as the James residence, and the states remain occupied. They actually attach the paperwork. This is what you would call a receipt.
That's a real receipt right there.
Is this what you is this what you'd call providing a receipts? We got them papers. Okay. As you can see, it says owner's certification regarding occupied housing. No. Owner's occupation certification regarding occupied housing remains occupied. Yes. But you're not there. Okay.
That's
primary residence. Who was that? Question? Yes.
No, that's sus.
A tad bit. Primary residence mortgages receive more favorable loan terms, including lower interest rates, and then secondary resident mortgages. Lenders view secondary residence mortgages as significantly riskier, as a borrower is more likely to continue paying off a primary residence mortgage during the financial hardship. Interest rates on secondary resident mortgages are typically between 0.25 and 0.50% higher than their primary residence counterparts. However, this gap can widen depending on the lender. At the time of the 2023 Norfolk, Virginia property purchase and mortgage, Miss James was a sitting Attorney General of New York and is required by law to have her primary residence in the state of New York. Even though her mortgage applications list her intent to have the Norfolk, Virginia property as her primary home. In appearance, it appears Miss James' property and mortgage-related misrepresentations may have continued to her recent 2023 Norfolk, Virginia property purchase in order to secure a lower interest rate and a more favorable term.
So this is the case of the tale of two properties that are fraudulently purchased to get a better price.
Now remember, she said that is bad. Let's just assume that the law is not that. Let's just say it's not true. The law doesn't say that. Here's my thing. You've been accusing a certain individual about lying about paperwork and documents and assets in order to get favorable funding from banks. That's what you said about Trump. Now, if you're saying that, then maybe you shouldn't be participating in same actions. Maybe you should be a model citizen, trying to do the right thing, and you know, and you know how that works. But you know, rules for thee,
not for me.
Yep. And again, if it wasn't for double standards, then we wouldn't have standards.
And again, go ahead, Jim. Sorry. No, and again, you know, as Marlon stated, they always do what they're doing with exactly what they're accusing you of doing. Isn't it ironic, though? This isn't the first time this has happened. You know, when they're accusing him of doing something, Trump, they're over here doing the same exact thing. Then they get caught. The news doesn't talk about it. They say it's a lie. They spread all this stuff. But when Trump does it, oh, we have to believe it.
Impeach.
We have to believe it. Impeach. But when I do it, no, that's a lie. That's made up. That's a retaliation. They're just coming after me because I went after their king, Donald Trump. That's the only reason they're coming after me. Doesn't work like that because, again, as Marlon stated, there's receipts.
Yeah, it's also interesting to me though that Trump didn't have two properties that he was on about. It was his property was Mar-a-Lago that he overestimated to get a better appraisal. But hers is a little, what's the word? It's more conniving than and even shrewd in terms of her desired business outcome, because she wanted a better price at a different location, but she was fraudulent in the way she went about it.
Yes, and Trump Maine's residence was in Mar-a-Lago, and he actually lived there. Isn't that weird? Like odd. Well, I want to live here, and he actually does. Versus you, this is where I live, and you don't. I don't know what it is about them, but I think they have a propensity for lying to self. I think that's where it starts first, and that's worse. The fact that you are more willing to convince yourself that this is right to the point where you are not even worried about yourself getting caught. It also tells me that you know that at the time, the people that were behind all of this would not have checked on you.
That part.
You were exempt from a lot.
Yep.
The letter continues. January 26, 2001. This is how far back this goes.
Holy cow.
Certificate of occupancy lists this property as having 5 units. This is the one in New York. Okay, the same. Okay, where she lives. See Exhibit C. On February 14th, 2001, Ms. James purchased this 5-family dwelling. Ms. James secured a conforming loan through the Fannie Mae Freddie Mac Form 3033. Conforming loans are only available on 4-unit or less structures. Spanning the last 2 decades, Ms. James has consistently misrepresented the same property as only having 4 units in both building permit applications and numerous mortgage documents and applications. This even includes a 2011 application for the Home Affordable Modification Program, and most recently in 2019, mortgage refinancing through the Fannie Mae Freddie Mac lender. Conforming loans. What? Please tell me.
That names, those 2 names sound very familiar.
The Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
Didn't they get in trouble for something?
Yeah, Obama did. Back in his day.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I said, pot meet kettle. Conforming loans or Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac backed mortgages have favorable terms and rates to traditional private market mortgages for the explicit purpose of availability to lower and middle income borrowers. Conforming single family loans are subject to a cap of 4 dwellings per property. A building that exceeds 4 units must be treated as a multi-family property and typically has larger down payment requirements and higher interest rates terms, with interest rates being between 0.75% higher due to lenders viewing multifamily loans as significantly riskier. If I remember correctly, she was also quite upset with Trump back in the day about not renting to black people having these low income things. And here she is exploiting the low income, high income idea for her benefit. Weird. But hey, who am I? I'm just, a talking head. Additionally, the government's Home Assistance Modification Program was starting in 2008 to provide homeowners at risk for foreclosure with reduced monthly mortgage payments, and recipients had to have properties with 4 dwellings or less. It appears Ms. James may have listed the Brooklyn property as 4 units instead of 5 units in order to meet the conforming loan requirements and thus receive a better interest rates. Ms. James also appears to have used the same falsification in order to receive mortgage assistance through HAMP.
Professor, I have a question.
Yeah.
2008, that was during Obama's presidency. And it
Mm-hmm.
was also the very year in which the housing crisis happened, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just
a little tidbit too. She also had somebody co-sign on that New York property. This is where the kicker comes in. Hear me out. The person that she had co-sign on with it, she explained in her documentation that it was her husband, or rather, she was his wife. Now, the person that she picked was her father. Her father co-signed, but she listed him as spouse.
Keep it in family, huh?
That's one way to put it.
That's weird.
Hey, if it gets you a nice, good rate and all that stuff, why not do it, right? Why not marry your own sibling? Better yet, Papa's. Not really marry him, just on paper to get that little break for, married couples.
Is that what
Now,
is
now,
that what you
now,
put down?
you know, Marlon, we always go back to this. If I was to do that, if I was to take my sister and say, "Hey, we need a break, so you're going to act like my wife," and they found out I did that, where would I be?
There's a word that begins with J.
Yeah, I'd be in a hooskow, right?
Hello, jail. That's what it was.
Jail.
Yeah, jail.
You see what I mean? They do all this stuff right in our face because I always say that these people mock us. They show us right to our face. Look what I can do. I can do this, and nothing's going to happen to me. They mock us, but if you do it, you're going to jail.
It's crazy though because that sets precedent.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for Democrats it does, but not, of course, not
Brandon,
for us.
yes.
It's different. It's
True.
You just don't understand, Lee. Listen here. You are a bigot for not understanding that the strong, independent black woman was just doing what she did because she could not get it any other way because of oppression.
She did it for the community.
The community, oppression, and stuff.
But she's strong and independent?
Yes.
Totally.
Which required her to have her dad co-sign as her husband?
What? Yeah, it's same blood.
Jay, her father is part of the community too. So she was trying to bring that black man.
Are we talking about the community, or are we talking about
yes, both.
The community.
Okay.
I mean, is there at this point a separation?
No.
Okay. I'm just
point taken.
They're intermingled. They all follow that civil
point
rights.
taken. I acquiesce to your point, sir.
Okay. I mean, if we don't really have a separation of powers, really, they're just kind of, there's a great amalgamation of all of them, just globule of both of them together.
Makes sense.
The letter continues to say, Ms. James, for both properties listed above, appears to have falsified records in order to meet certain lender requirements, receive favorable loan terms. The U.S. Federal Housing FHFA believes this and other alleged misconduct could be violations of the criminal code under 18 U.S.C. 1343, wire fraud, 18 U.S.C. 1341, mail fraud, 18 U.S.C. 1344, bank fraud, 18 U.S.C. 1014, false statements to a financial institution. Weird. All these things that you talked almost like Trump did. Yeah. And or other relevant state and federal laws. For your reference, I have also attached documentation which shows in 1983 that Miss James and her father signed mortgage documents that stated they were husband and wife.
Fraud.
In order to secure a home mortgage. Then on May 4th, 2000, Miss James was listed again as husband and wife in documents. While this was a long time ago, it raises serious concerns about the validity of Miss James' representations on mortgage applications. You think? There are unfortunately too many examples of individuals who commit fraud or mortgage fraud. Just last year, a federal jury convicted Marilyn J. Mosby of Baltimore, Maryland, on the federal charge of making a false mortgage application when she was Baltimore City State's attorney relating to the purchase of her property in Florida just last week. Another hard work of our agencies, IG and DOJ. A St. Louis man pled guilty to fraudulently obtaining home mortgages. As always, we look forward to cooperating with the Department of Justice, support any actions, and the Department of Justice finds appropriate. The U.S. Federal Housing FHFA appreciates the Department of Justice support in ensuring the protection of American homebuyers and taxpayer from mortgage fraud and other financial misconduct.
Okay, so at the behest of coming off prejudice, Letitia James is a strong, independent black woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Marilyn Mosby, I had to look her up because I had no clue who she was. Out of Baltimore, Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
Who, based on what it is I've seen, is another strong, independent black woman.
Mm-hmm.
both of these two committed mortgage fraud.
Hmm.
I don't want to say I'm seeing a pattern here, but
Oh, no. There is a pattern. The same way we can see patterns in certain activities by white males, right? That's what they say.
Mhm.
Okay.
Sure.
Can I deny that there's a pattern of white males doing certain things? No, of course not. I would be stupid to say there wasn't.
but it seems like
duh.
the pattern is these women in power
Mm.
or holding high offices in government pulling this stuff.
Yeah, see, there you go. See, the idea of the power dynamic is the biggest issue. Now, please be sure we're not saying all black women do this. Okay, there's a certain sector of the black female that seems to do this. Always the ones that say they don't need no man.
Exactly.
And she does look like she has that kind of face, doesn't she? I don't need no man mascot face right there.
Yeah.
It's the I have a master's degree.
Yeah.
I'm smarter than you and more educated than you, and you need to make 12 figures in order to even be in my presence face.
Yes.
But what I get from these women, these independent, strong women, is that, for one, they're part of what's considered a marginalized group. So they figure, well, if I do it and they come at me, I can just now play victim, using the race card, the gender card, whatever card I have to use and throw out there to get these people off my back. Yeah. Back in those times, it probably would have worked because everybody would have jumped on it. Oh, they're only going after her because she's black, or they're only going after her because she's a woman. Now people are waking up to it. They're like, huh. That ain't the reason you did it. Wrong. You did it because you're a crook.
Yeah. Crook. So this is a Big Tish is what they're calling her now.
Medea.
Big Tish. Big Tish is fictitious. Let's listen to what they have to say here.
New York State Attorney General Letitia James now faces a criminal referral from the Federal Housing Finance Agency, accusing her of fraud to get lower mortgage rates. James, whose public salary is $222,000 a year, has obtained home loans for several properties with claims that are apparently false. In 2023, papers show she claimed a house in Norfolk, Virginia, as her primary residence. That qualifies for a lower mortgage rate. But at the time she's been serving in public office in Albany, New York, that's 500 miles away. She bought another building with her father as co-signer, calling herself his wife. And the referrals also show that she bought this brownstone in Brooklyn, New York, but misrepresented the number of units in it. That lowered the mortgage rate there, too.
This was not her principal residence. In fact, as a New York elected official, she had to say that her principal residence was in New York. This was an out-of-state residence. But also, in some of these forms, she actually states that her father is her husband in order to file as a married couple.
Whew. And there was a good question in the chat about what bank approved these loans. And then her being a district attorney or a lawyer, probably well known in that area, that district, don't you think they would have known when they did that? Would you think?
Well, you're asking if a bank knew that she was, it doesn't matter. Here's why. Because the person, like they said about Trump, the person doing the fraud should be aware of their assets and what it's worth. Mm-hmm. You're tricking the bank, whether the bank has its due diligence to do or not. You're the one lying to the bank. The bank is also a victim here. Okay, so technically you should be paying back the bank for even giving it a loan because you lied to them. So either way, whether it's a bank that knew or didn't know, by her own standards, the bank is now a victim as well. And so it should be two victims, not just the FHFA, but the banks. Yes, boss.
Question for Professor. But in the case of Donald John Trump, the bank actually said that they were not victims. So how does that work according to Letitia James?
It don't matter what the banks say. It matter what they say.
Public opinion.
So we say the banks are the victims. So the banks are the victims.
Even though the bank says they're not the victim.
Yeah, it don't matter. Don't matter. So I think they should charge her $460 million is what I think they should.
So, but then it doesn't matter if the woman says she's not the victim. according to the court of public opinion via Letitia James, she is the victim.
Now you're getting it.
Yes.
Ah, gotcha.
See, the left's logic does pan out sometimes, but only when you use it against themselves, not in regular logic world. Like, you know, I look, I did a response to a SpongeBob conspiracy theory, and the only people that think Patrick is smart are the people who are looking to think that maybe his one occasional time that he's smart is because he's actually a villain, a super mega mind villain that pretends to be dumb. That's what I mean. You see, so you can make it work in some way, shape, or form, but we all know that Patrick's a dummy. He's a starfish with no brain, and nobody wants to admit that. But a few people will look at him and think, well, he has all these moments of grandeur sometimes. Yeah, a broken clock is right twice a day as well, but
That's true.
doesn't make him smart. But she did have something to say about it.
Oh.
Now, okay, I honestly thought at first, this is me, and y'all can think I'm petty or I'm rude or whatever. You know me, don't care. I thought the pictures I kept seeing about her was doctored. But this lady literally sees 2 locations at one time. She is keeping an eye on the audience and on her house at the same.
She about the same size as Shaq.
Man, when she gives you the side eye, she's really giving you the side eye.
Shaquille Letitia. Big Shaq right there.
You see it though? Do you see it?
You see Shaq. I see Shaq.
How did I not pick up on this before?
No, but okay, look, I literally spent, I'm not lying about this. I spent about an hour, literally an hour, looking for pictures to see if the people that were putting her picture up was doctoring one eye to do the drift. It wasn't.
Oh, yeah.
It was really them.
Holy moly.
Can't nobody
was
walk
really
up on
them.
her.
I was floored. I really was. And before she continued, I have to find this here. Let me get this one.
Look how wide she is, man. Look at that wall behind her. She's big back.
Yeah.
What's the name of that that show?
Mr. Ed.
No. Oh gosh. There we go. Yep, there we go. Okay, here. I want to find the. There it is. There it is. Let me see if I can find it here.
She's got to be pushing.
Let me see if I can find them.
Oh, fun fact. You know how they said that? You know how they said that Letitia makes what, $220,000 a year?
Okay. I found it. Perfect. Found it. Let's bring her down for a quick second because I want y'all to see what I thought of the very moment that I saw her face. Now I'm a believer. I don't know how many of you have seen the movie Flushed Away. You've ever seen Flushed Away?
Oh.
It is a claymation type of movie. Okay. Hugh Jackman played a rat and Ian McKellen played a frog. And the frog was a British frog. And the rat encountered him and he was taking him through his collection of things he had because he loved the crown, the British crown, so much. And he had an entire collection of the crown's stuff. And he had this one speech. And I thought of her. And tell me, she looks a lot like him too, but wait till you see what I mean by watch.
Here in the underbelly of the world, in this dark, low place.
There we go.
That is so true.
Oh,
Now you see it, right?
That's uncanny.
Why am I sitting up here looking up her height and weight?
You see it, right? You see the eye. This is exactly what I thought of her when she was talking in this dark, low place. And the eyes just
same facial expression too.
Same facial expression.
Marlon, the fact that you were able to bring up Flushed Away as a reference point for Letitia James is just amazing.
I have
now
kids,
I can't
right?
stop looking at it.
I have kids. And cartoons. Look, regardless of whether I had kids, I would be watching cartoons. Okay, I'm a cartoon fan. I love the hilarious slapstick stuff. And Flushed Away is one of my absolute favorite movies ever made. ever. Okay, if you've not had the chance to watch Flushed Away yet, please watch it. You're gonna thank me. You will. You'll come back and say, "Man, that movie had me dying." I was rolling the whole movie, but that section right there. Dog,
This reminds me of.
her hand looks like a frog till you see it, and then the
Does.
face is all swollen. Come on, man. Tell me I'm not
This
wrong.
reminds me of that TikTok video where it was like, "Look me in my eye, I am."
Yeah.
Which one? Me in my eye. Which one? This look this eye, I am. Both her eyes were like this. Yeah, two cockeyed people staring at each other in the camera, trying to figure. Look at what eye? I'm looking at your eye. I'm looking at your eye too.
So good. So good.
Oh, jeez.
I know I'm gonna have people say, "Why are you talking about a black queen like that?" Cause I can.
She ain't no queen.
Cause I can. So this is her speaking for one of the first times. Here we go.
So states have a unique role in preserving the constitutional order.
Mm.
And it's important that individuals understand that all 18 attorneys general who have filed this action seek to stop a private individual from accessing the private information of millions of Americans, their social security numbers, their tax information, their addresses. No one elected Elon Musk and his minions.
Do you see what they do, right? Now, mind you, this is right after they've had conversations about what she's been doing. What do you do when you get caught?
Deflect.
Look at Elon Musk.
The pivot is strong. With this one.
Well, you see, but to her benefit, to her, the defense, she can do two things at once. She can keep an eye on Elon Musk and one eye on the crowd. So she can indeed do that. From what we've seen about her face, right now she's staring Elon Musk down, and still watching at the crowd.
I think that other eye is looking at her security to the left.
She got her eyes everywhere. This is what you call private eyes. They're watching you. They see your every move. Thank you, Hall & Oates. Anyway.
And no one has allowed him to have access to this information.
Mm.
This is a violation of the separation of powers.
Mm.
The United States.
Not really, because real quick clarification there for you, Ms. James. The entities he's looking over are executive entities. And last time I checked, hear me out. I'm not a scholar by any means, but he is the head of the executive branch, which means anything that's executive oriented, he has control and power over. So
I mean, if we're talking about Constitution, isn't that Article 2?
I think it was number 2. Yeah, it's 2. Yeah. Anyway, continue.
States Congress, the United States Senate, has the sole discretion in having the power of the purse, and not Elon Musk. He has basically violated the Administrative Procedure Act, and he has violated the privacy of millions of Americans. And it is up to us to prevent him from having access to that private information. And so we've come together because we believe in the Constitution and the rule of law.
Oh.
And we believe that no one is above the law.
Good. Look, you have no idea how happy I am you said that. I'm thankful that you said that. You know why I'm thankful you said that, Ms. James? Because this will eventually come back to nip you square in the bud. Why? Because you are not above the law.
That's right.
You're not. The problem is you think you are, and you'll eventually have to pay the piper. You have to pay the piper.
One thing that I've noticed is that as she's talking, she seemed really out of breath. So perhaps lay off the calories. And
you're asking a lot.
I know eating trauma is a real thing apparently. But another thing too is where was all this energy about no one being above the law and unelected officials when the Rona hit?
Don't know. Last time I checked, it was Fauci had all kinds of power, unelected.
We didn't. Yeah. But I mean, I'm just asking questions.
Hey, don't talk about Moto's people like that. Okay. He likes them big. He likes them chunky. Okay. Don't let Moto find you for talking bad about Gloria like that. Okay. That's his people. In either case, people, the referencing of mortgage issues and fraud. She made sure to put all this on president's floor and make sure to put it at his door and accuse him of it. And now that the shoe's on the other foot, all of a sudden now you shouldn't have access to people's private information. That is not for you, especially if you're unelected, blah, 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 blah. Here's a problem, Miss James. You are elected. I mean, we have to question that too, but you are elected, right? And so you should be held to a completely different standard than Elon, right? Am I wrong? Okay.
Yes.
So if Elon's unelected and he's being held to a standard, maybe the elected people should be held to a higher standard. And if you are doing the same things that you're accusing other people of, then you should easily step down from your position until the investigation is completed anyway. You know, because fair is fair. No one's above the law. And then not only that, but give as much information you can because you're innocent. And once that's done and you're cleared and exonerated, then you can get back on going after president. In fact, if you did that and you came out clear on the other, then you'd have a massive foolproof case against Donald Trump. In fact, people might even be on your side because they were accusing. Look at what Trump's doing. He's accusing you of something that he did. And then the courts find it to be true. Man, look, you have your bread and your butter too. So, but you won't do that because you know you're guilty.
Yeah.
You're guilty. Your dad, of all people, man. Come on, Letitia. I mean, you could have
Twice.
I get it that maybe I can't find a man, but golly.
Resorting to your own father to be
Is she single too?
No, she's double.
Oh,
double wide.
Cha-ching. Yeah. Yeah, she's a strong, independent woman. You know, it's funny.
You teed me up. I had to hit that ball. Sorry.
It's funny how she talks about Elon, non-elected official, going through the books, you know, checking for all the, you know, the fraud, waste, and abuse. So who would they want for the American people to have in there looking at these books? Someone that they elect based off their reputation when it comes to corruption. We don't want someone you elect. We want someone outside of this system to go in there and look. So yes, we elected him when we elected Donald Trump.
No.
Yeah.
No, she's not going to jail.
This is the problem. Okay. And look, I hope I'm wrong. I really do hope I'm wrong. I hope it's not just some fine and some giving up of the properties alone. I really hope not. But here's the problem. And this is where I think y'all can take me off the ledge if you can try. I hear a lot of these things coming to light as, oh, look what we found. And then nobody rolls for it. Like there isn't a single person that you see walking out in cuffs, stripped of their pension, their 401, their government, nothing like that has ever happened. McCabe is still out there. What's his name? The tall 6'6" lurch giant that was protecting Clinton, former FBI guy. What's his name? Comey's still free. So I cannot, if I were to be honest with myself, I cannot believe that she's going to go to jail. I can't think she'll see any jail time. And that is unfortunate because we need to have somebody made an example of in order for this to actually hold water. But the unfortunate thing is I cannot, as much as I want to say yes, I hope that Bondi and Cash and those guys really follow through. I really do. I mean, not just with the investigation on a criminal level, but if what they are saying is true and they did send paperwork in, this should be cut and dry.
Yeah.
It should be instantaneous disbarring. At least he should be disbarred.
Yes.
Never be able to practice law in either state. Never be able to run for public office. Let's say she doesn't get jail. Let's just say that, unfortunate as it is. I would hope that at minimum, disbarring, barred from any public office anywhere in the United States, and a fine that would completely give back to the states what she took. Is that going to happen? Man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to tell you, and I'm sorry to think of it, but all of it seems to be a talk, and I don't know what's going to happen. What do you think?
I would really hope that they start putting people in cuffs and doing the perp walks, because it's going to give people, you know, it's going to show the American people that there isn't a two-tier justice system. If people aren't going to jail for these crimes that the average citizen would have been arrested, door kicked in and thrown in a cell, and these people aren't, the two-tier justice system still exists.
Right.
the people, one of the main things the American people are tired of is the justice system. You'll see a regular old Joe go to jail for the same thing that some bigwig politician does, and they get to walk. So that, yes, I hope they throw them in cuffs. They put it all over the TV, perk walk them to a pier, and kick them off with bricks on their ankles, one by one. That's what I mean, but it's not going to happen. That's just the world I live in, you know.
Yeah, and the unfortunate thing is I don't know that'll happen, man.
No,
I've seen too many things where, okay, let's look at just the Epstein case real quick. No clients of the man was ever, even though they participated in the same thing. It almost seems like they're focused, hyper focused on these massive names, but not in actual justice for victims, and that is a big issue for me. And like I said, we call a spade here. We don't try and say, well, give them time to see, and especially if you've had time and you're still not doing anything, we're not going to be on your side for much longer. I'm sorry, because you talked a big game, big game, like you were a bulldog, and now you acting more like a terrier puppy, and it's not a good look. I really do believe that heads need to roll for this.
I do too.
And if that happens, I mean, if that means really head rolling, I have no problem with that either. Because if it is treasonous, why shouldn't they pay the treasonous price? So no, I don't think that unfortunately, I don't think they'll pay a price for this. And this is the problem with the left versus the right.
Right.
See, the left would actually put somebody in prison.
Yes.
And they did. All the J6ers went straight to jail. Not a single rioter from the BLM protest went to prison and stayed there. And the right had the options to do so. We didn't do it. You get what I'm saying? Like the left will go after political people and put them behind bars and be happy about it and keep them there. We don't do the same. It's almost like we like bringing the truth to light and just that's it. You showed you. What now? No, you're seeing it. There you go. Now you know. What do something about it. Well,
which is just empty rhetoric with no action.
We have more
That's
important things
sad.
to worry about.
Yeah, more important things. Yeah. No, you don't. No, you don't.
About.
This is important. So worry about it.
Yeah.
Worry about it. Like you know people that traffic children, arrest them. Not just arrest them, string them up. If you know it. Like I don't think Jeffrey Epstein should have seen the inside of a cell to begin with. He should have been straight to the Hoosgow and strung up, shocked, electrotherapy right off the top. Not even a question. You knew he was guilty of it back in 2004, 5, and 6. Why wouldn't you just execute him then? But now you know he's guilty a second time of something even worse. Why are you putting him in jail? This whole due process thing, he had due process and he reoffended.
Right.
If you've reoffended, there is no more hope for you. I'm sorry, chair. Plain and simple. I'm not giving you no more due process. You had due process. You're gone. You're out of there. Gone. I think we just give, and they know it's like children that you don't put down your law about. And they know they have a certain place they can get to before you say you get mad, but they know that's all you do is get mad, and you make a bunch of threats, but you never go through with them. They'll just get you to that point, and they'll back off for a bit, and then come right back to the edge, and they know you're not going to do anything. Now, take for instance, you decide one day, if you do that one more time, I'm slapping the black off of you, and the kid knows for like the last 5 times you wouldn't do it, and then out of the blue, this backhand just comes, plow, plow, plow. And they literally see a white mark because the blood dissipates from their face so far that you did slap the black off of them. Watch what happens. All of a sudden, they're like, oh, that was new. They went through with it. Now, if I make a bigger threat next time, you remember what happened last time? Now going to happen again. If kids know you have a not just a hard and fast line, but what you say will get done, they act differently. This is the case with these politicians. We talk this big game for so long. We'll put this one behind bars and we'll get in jail and this, and you don't do it. After a while, they realize you're not going to do anything. So why would they worry about stopping? They're not going to stop.
Yeah, and when it comes to these people, they should be held to a higher standard. We hear that all the time. You're an elected official, whatever your position is, when you're in some type of position of influence or authority, you're held to a higher standard. But it doesn't seem to work when it comes to held to that higher standard when it comes to justice. It's reverse. So the citizens are held to a higher standard when it comes to justice for crimes less than that. But these guys are doing major crimes with major money, and they're not held to a higher standard when it comes to their punishment. The American people are watching. So now it's just going to be every single time an American does something that's close to what these people are doing, they're going to be like, wait a minute, I'm going to jail for doing the same exact thing this person did. What is the difference? So they're going to have to set that tone, because if they don't, and as we talk backstage, you just created something that you're not going to be able to stop eventually. People are going to see crimes committed by people in high places and very influential positions. And they're going to be like, you know what? If they can do it, I can do it. So they're going to have to set that tone. They're going to have to start arresting people to show people like this won't be tolerated. And you have to start at the top. You have to. If they see big people going to jail, a lot of people will think twice at the bottom about doing it.
Yeah.
And this for real. Pedos were a rarity to make it to jail. The people made them disappear, and no one cared if a pedo disappeared. Facts. It used to be that if you ever made it to jail, people would tell. This was the going statement. Oh, you better not let nobody in jail know that's what you went in there for. I don't know if it's the same now, but you better not let nobody in there know, because you don't make it out. Even the prisoners had a standard of operation that you did not come in there being a person that touched on kids. And this was almost universal for everywhere on earth. You ever went into prison and that was what you went in there for, the first day you getting shanked or beat up. First day. There'd be murderers that kill people, life sentences, death the next day. Children is where they draw the line. And you going, that was the worst thing you could have done. Today, it's not even touching the title of being the worst thing you can do. Now the worst thing you can do is support President Trump.
Yeah.
That's the worst you can do. But we'll end with Mrs. James' fiery speech at an event with Mr. Sharpton. And enjoy.
57 years after the assassination of Dr. King. And Dr. King talked about that stone of hope. And it's that stone of hope that gives me a fire in my belly each and every morning.
That's hunger. Ugh. That's hunger.
Marlon, you should have never pointed out her eye, because I can't. That's what I'm staring at.
You can't
I
unsee it now, huh?
Yeah.
You can't unsee it, can you? No, I know you can't unsee it.
It's that stone of hope that allows me to wake up and to stand to Donald Trump and to say, Donald Trump, I'm not afraid of you. It's that stone of hope. It's that stone of hope that I'm not going to allow my ancestors, all of those who died for me, to be in this position.
Ain't nobody died for you to be in this position. You ate them. Stop. Oh
gosh.
You have more ancestors in your stomach than you do in any of your lineage. Okay, just stop. Stop the cap. Stop the cap.
I am not going to disgrace them and disappoint them.
Too late.
They're looking at you right now. Shame.
She is too. She's looking at them right now as well as the camera. Hey, multitasking is your friend.
I'm going to use the law both as a sword and as a shield.
As a sword and as a shield.
That's an interesting pronunciation.
Stand with this great organization under the leadership of our civil rights leader, Reverend Al Sharpton, who has been a light, a bright and shining light in the darkness.
Surely you can't be serious.
And so I'm covered by the blood, and I'm not afraid of Donald Trump. You can come after me, but no enemy.
This is the best part here. She's about to quote scripture, people. Everybody knows. Every time a black woman gets mad, they have to quote a scripture, right? And it's always the one scripture that everybody knows about the weapons stuff, right? Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Just wait. Okay. This is proof that they don't really know the scripture, but they've heard it before somewhere. You ready?
Man, look at that eye.
Oh, just wait for it. This is good.
But no enemy, nothing formed against me will perish.
Wait. No enemy.
Nothing formed against me will perish. I agree. Nothing will not perish. It will definitely beat your brakes off.
Yeah, the only weapon she has is a fork.
We got to hear that again, because that was a powerful, powerful speech.
No enemy, nothing formed against me will perish. Nothing formed against me. Nothing formed against me. Nothing formed against me.
Nothing formed against me will perish.
Good.
Jay, you're smarter than me. Make that make sense.
Well, I can't trust me. The eye is too distracting.
The eyes have it.
Nothing formed.
No weapon formed against me shall prosper.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know that. But she said nothing formed against me shall perish. What does that mean?
It means that she'll go down. She'll be going down. She knows it, and so she's admitting it.
I thought I was here. I was like, what does that even mean?
Fannie Willis said the same thing in a speech when she went to a church too. She said the same line. They all use it. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. They perish in and pizza and parlor and pasta and another P word.
Hey, real quick, and I talked about the justice system earlier, and I wanted to just go back to that real quick. The only way for the justice system to have that equal justice in our system is to get rid of people like these attorney generals like her.
Yeah.
Because as long as these people are in here, their friends in these high places are going to always get away with what they want to get away with. This is why the Department of Justice needs to gut every single judge out there. Every single one of them. Go back to constitutional law. Let them know this is it. This is the law of the land, and it applies to everyone. No one is exempt. And there needs to be consequences for going against that. You need to get people out of there that are just like her, because it's never going to change.
I understand some jive turkey, but I didn't take a course in advanced jive turkey.
You jive turkey.
That's jive turkey 2.0. That's it. We all probably went through the remedial class. She went into what's the scholars class?
Advanced placement.
Advanced placement. Yeah. She's up there. She's up there with the look. Her and Kamala, they were classmates and they graduated. I don't come loudly kind of thing. Class.
Nothing
formed against me shall
perish.
You know what? This is okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm doing it, folks. Okay. I'm going to take some time this weekend. I'm going to take that frog's face and I'm going to try and form her face into it and a t-shirt and says, "No weapon formed against me shall perish."
Merch idea.
The Buddha stand. How does Buddha sit? Put her face on Buddha.
No weapon formed against me shall perish.
Or you should make it like, how does Yoda talk? No, perish
against me, no weapon shall perish. It shall not. Weapons formed against me shall be, but perish they shall.
Do it like that.
Perish they shall not. Formed they shall be. Perish they shall not. Man, Letitia, you're good. You're good, girl. You're good. Hey, keep going. Keep doing you. This might be this amount of running in circles is the best exercise you can get. You might end up losing weight. Kind of circles you're running around yourself. I highly doubt it.
It's just surprising to me that over the course of the last month, right, we've had what's her face, Jasmine Crockett talking. We've had AOC talking, and now we've got Letitia James talking. If you all want to win elections,
keep talking.
Well, no, if you want to lose elections, keep talking. If you want to win elections, don't put these women up in the forefront.
Hey, listen carefully. I have seen better poster advertisements, special needs kids, than these people.
Yes.
They are amazing, though. They're amazing. They're not like us because they're not, they're not brainiacs.
And out of all the people she could have brought on the stage with her, she brings Al, not so sharp.
Allie boy.
Is he still relevant?
People are worried about Al right now because he's so emaciated looking. But Al is not complaining because he is quite happy to be not obese anymore. So
that's true. He gave it all to Letitia.
He gave it all away. He did what you call give it away, give it away, give it away now. Give it away.
Man.
Anyway, that's our Letitia James segment. Come Monday, we will have Glenn on with us. Decoy is what his new name shall be for now. And if he don't like it, he can have to pick a new one. But Decoy will be with us on Monday. And we will be discussing that El Salvadorian guy
Garcia,
that the left seems so enamored with. Having known nothing about him before, all of a sudden they're massive informants of how he lived his life.
Yes.
He went from nothing known about him to everything known about him, and they all know the truth about him, but they don't really know anything about him. And now they're expecting a foreign country to kowtow to their wishes. Yeah. And I'm glad that the dude's just sitting back laughing at them saying, I don't know what you want me to do. You don't live here.
Right.
Trump don't live here. I don't know what you expect Trump to do. What's Trump going to do? First of all, Trump ain't going to ask for him back. But secondarily, even if Trump did ask for him back, this man has a right to say, no.
Yeah.
All you want him back is for what? To say you brought him back home? No, that's not how this works. It's not even like he's a citizen of the United States. So, but we will get more into that come come Monday. Make sure you all tune into that one.
Oh, well, you know the left. They're going to jump on anything that's mainstream. It'll be something tomorrow. They'll all be about that. Next day, it'll be something. They just figure it out what's trending, and they're going to jump on it. None of them care about that immigrant. Their new immigrant messiah. They, like you said, they wouldn't even know who the guy was until the media started talking about this one guy, this one dude. Out of all the ones ever deported, this one guy mattered, though.
Yeah,
he matters.
They know plenty about him now.
Mm-hmm.
Man, they can't get enough of the guy. He's amazing, smart, brilliant, father. Even though he had all kinds of issues here, but no, father, great stuff. So we'll talk about that come Monday. Trying to think if there's anything else before we end the segment. No, there isn't. Cool. Now, if you guys don't mind, please don't mind this. Please, for all that you're worth, if you want this platform to grow, there are 44 of you on YouTube right now. And then there's another, 50 of you on Rumble.
Yeah.
Please get, if it's just this segment, right now, copy and paste into your Facebook page and just let it marinate there. And put in there, please go sub to Savage Patriots. If you have whatever platform you're on, please just share it so we can get our numbers bumped up. Right now, we are, let me see if I can find out where we're at with subs. Right now, we are at 2,872. Okay, 2,872 on Rumble. If we can break the 3K mark before summer, I would be eternally grateful for y'all. Okay. If we can break that 3K mark, it's a little harder to do on Rumble because not many people are over there.
Right.
But if we can break that 3K mark, we'll start rolling a little better. Okay. So please go over if you're not on it yet and you're still on YouTube. I understand that Rumble, at least just subscribe over there. You might be able to still watch here, but at least subscribe over there. It would mean a lot to us, and it would not take a whole lot of effort, just a couple of finger clicks. Okay. That's my only request for you. We won't ask you again. I lie. We'll ask you plenty more times, probably at least 6 or 7 more. So please do that for us. Thank you. Mr. Lee.
So as Marlon said, like, share, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you on Monday.
Peace. Peace.